Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Paul Reed. I'm a professional photographer. Today I want to get right into showing you some photography because that's what this channel is all about. This is some images which I took on film using my Leica M6. I went out, it was a foggy day, and I went out into the fog to take some photos because I just love fog for atmospheric shots. I also took some photos of some of the people that were on my workshop in Glasgow. That was just a great workshop to be on. What a privilege it was as well for us all after the workshop just to visit the exhibition of Simon Murphy. It was fantastic. And Simon actually met us there at the exhibition and he signed some stuff for everybody as well. I just wanted to kind of mention something about those photographs that I just showed you. You may notice there's something just a little bit odd about the grain on it, and I have just had a bit of a nightmare with this stuff here. It's this Cinestill DF96 developer, and it's an all-in-one developer. Now, it sounded amazing to me, to do that, to not have to have developer and fix and all of that sort of thing. But what I've found is I'm just having some problems with it. And it's like if I get the temperature too low, then you're not allowed to agitate it as much. And when you don't agitate it enough, then you get bromide drag on the images, which is like these streaks along where the sprockets are. So to avoid that, I've been trying to kind of put the temperature up higher, and then that means you've got to agitate it more. Unfortunately, what can sometimes happen is it makes the grain go funny. I can't remember what the word is for this, but it makes the grain into almost like little worms. Somebody in the comments tell me what the name of that is. It's to do with temperature change whenever you're developing films. But this is the problem that I seem to be having with this developer is if I develop it at the lower temperatures, then I can't agitate it enough. And then if I do it at the higher temperatures, then I'm getting this strange thing that happens with grain on films. So honestly, I think this stuff is history for me. I think I'm going to go on and use something else. So I really use Tri X film. I'd appreciate, anybody that, loves taking film photographs and loves developing their own stuff. I'd love it if, maybe in the comments, if you just let me know what you think, what's a good developer that's out there, something that isn't going to be, really bringing the grain out more. I just want it, just standard developer and fix for Tri X film and something that kind of keeps the grain at bay. I've had a few more people asking about my workshops again, see what's still available. I'm going to just quickly put up what dates are still available and where. So they're in London and Glasgow. So I'm just going to put those dates up. I'm just loving these workshops. They've been so much fun. I'm doing one in London this week, but at the moment, I seem to be doing one in Glasgow and one in London every month at the moment. But these are the dates that are available at the moment, and I would love you to come along. So this is the last episode of my series of photographs that I consider to be my best work from 2023. And yeah, it's something that I might continue on because I never did this before. I haven't discussed previous images from previous years that I've done. So let me know in the comments if you want me to continue on with this series because I've got plenty of photographs from 2022 and just all of my photographs that I consider now to be the best images. And I'm happy to go through those images with you and tell you what my approach was, what I used, and just all the information just to do with each photograph and why I choose them as my best images. Anyway, so this image is one of my favourite metalhead photographs. So metalhead's a project which I do with this girl in the diver's helmet. Love this shot. This one was shot on film. It was shot with my Leica M6 using, I think this was shot on the 50mm 1.4 TT Artisan's lens and Tri X. So I love this shot, just love the contrast to it, love that reflection in the glass there, and and I like the sparse nature of the background as well. So this is definitely one of my favorite images. This is a shot of my better looking half. She crops up from time to time in my images because she's by my side a lot of the time. So this was us crossing a road in Edinburgh, and I'm just telling her, will you just look back at me? And she looked back and I snapped this shot. Love this shot, love the fact that it's on film as well. I think it's it does give a look to it. It's shot with a fairly shallow depth of field, and again that's that 50mm TT Artisan's lens, that 1.4 lens, and it's actually a really good lens. I love the look of it, and it's something which I'm definitely going to use again. And another shot again on the same day. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 of these which I just couldn't pick which was my favourite of these. So this is another shot, and I just think there's just this timeless feel to this image. It kind of just has a good feel to it, and yeah, and again 50mm 1.4 TT Artisan's lens, Tri X is. And then this was a portrait that I took. It was actually pouring down with rain whenever I took this photograph, and you wouldn't think it looking at it, but it kind of just goes to show, and it's very dark, it was very dark, but it just goes to show, film can cope with a lot more than what we give it credit for sometimes, as long as you've got a decent fast lens on there and some nice black and white film. Again, Tri X. I wasn't, that fussed about Tri X, I'll be honest with you, the first time round, but I'm actually really loving it, and I've got a lot more to shoot with it. This shot again from that same day, we were just on a day out, and I'm just kind of saying, oh look, pause there, will you? And it's just sometimes me even just testing out my camera equipment, and then I just get something really, really cool out of it. This was shot with the Leica Q2 Monochrome on one of my workshops. This is a section where I, teach people how I do street portraits and what I do. So these are some of the people that were actually on that course that day. There was this gentleman, and I love this shot, and then there was this girl as well, and I love this photograph as well. Again, there's definitely a look to what the Q2 Monochrome comes out with, and certainly, the way I edit them and everything, it's a different look than any of my other cameras, and a different look than film. It's definitely a lot more, I guess, high definition than the others, but still it's just so sharp. Not always the most flattering lens to use, but I just absolutely love using it still, and I love using it for street portraits. This was another shot as well here. We were just having a bit of fun there, and yeah, that was a great workshop that day. Look at that light. Another shot taken of my other half, again just on a day out. I think we were in Glasgow. Yeah, we were in Glasgow that day, and this is taken with a Fuji XH2. So, and you can kind of tell, it's again a different look from what the the Q2 Monochrome comes out with, but I do love the tones and everything of this image. The shot was taken during a workshop that I was holding in London. This is in Chinatown, and I love Chinatown for, you know, just you know what, it's a great place to practice as well. So it's a great place to practice your zone focusing, because the foot traffic is so heavy and there's so many different people there. It's a great place just to kind of wander around and just try to snap those photographs using your zone focusing method. And this one, I was really testing myself by shooting, I think I was shooting this wide open, like 1.7 or something like that. But, you know, it's just, I love this photograph, and you can see the ones I tend to choose are the ones where the subject ends up looking at me, you know, like, and catching me taking the photograph. Those are the ones that I feel that I connect to most, and I love this shot for that reason. So this gentleman here, you know, I ran into him in the London Underground. You'll see another shot shortly, and I just got talking to him, and he just seemed like a bit of a character, and, you know, these are the people who I'm drawn to. So I asked if I could take his portrait, but before I did that, I actually snapped him on the tube itself, and he caught me taking his photograph. And this is what happens, you know, sometimes if you're taking photographs, even if you're trying to be kind of stealthy about it, you can get caught. Now, most of the time, you know, even then, as long as you are, you know, very friendly, give them a smile, talk to them a little bit, tell them what you're doing, then that can be a nice encounter. And of course, as you saw, he ended up posing for a portrait for me. So I'm just always just, you know, not too nervous about taking photographs on the tube. I normally get away with it, and then sometimes you get talking to people. What a character though, and just everything about that. And he's got that sling on, and it's one of those shots which I'd have been more annoyed with myself for not taking that photograph. And it's worth the risk of getting caught, and worth the risk of possible, you know, confrontation. This is a touching moment on the tube, and I'm always looking out for things on the tube, just little nice moments or interesting moments. And this shot, I really love this, and I just kind of, it almost tells just a story, just the whole thing there. You know, you've got these other people just chatting away, and then them just not really aware of anybody else being there. They're just in their own world there. This one was shot in Camden Town in London, and it's a fun shot. It's again would be one of those shots that you would say, well, that's blurred. That's not technically perfect at all. I was panning the shot as they drove by, and yeah, it's not technically perfect, but I do like it a lot. What I look out for sometimes, if you look, you know, you can see that arrow in the top left hand corner of this image, and I do look out for arrows a lot when I'm on the streets, and I tend to place my subjects, or, you know, or would take the photograph of the subject whenever the arrow is pointing at them in some way. So if that arrow was pointed to the left, then that would annoy me. You know, it's almost like a gesture to say to the viewer where they should be looking, or where this photograph is heading. So I do look out for things like that quite often. This photograph is an example of me kind of setting my stage and then waiting for somebody to enter into the photograph. And so this cafe, I just like the look of the cafe. This is what happens, you know. I see something, saw this cafe, I thought, I love the look of that cafe, and I want to take a picture of it, but I wasn't kind of fully satisfied with just taking it as it was. Now, that's a waiting game, so I'm going to put I'm going to put my camera to my eye quite quickly whenever the right person passes by. And as you can see, there's some people in the cafe itself, and I've been caught by him. He's looking directly at the camera, that guy in the background, but then she's walking past, and I just love this shot. And I do love it whenever I can get somebody in the frame, quite prominent, and also some people in the background as well. And this would have been the same sort of thing again. I will sometimes notice that, just a pocket of light, and then just kind of go, oh man, there's not much foot traffic here. How long am I going to have to wait for somebody to enter into that pocket of light? And this, I was waiting for quite a while before anybody walked past and, walked into that pocket of light. Again, much like the fine art street photographers, or what would be considered to be fine art street photography, where they kind of set themselves up, they are looking more at the geometry and things like that. I'm more thinking about leading lines and things that lead to the subject, but the subject is 99% of the time, it's the subject is the character themselves, the person themselves, not the environment, not the geometry of it, more to do with the person. And I just waited until she just walked into exactly the place that I wanted to take the photograph, and took the photograph. This is part of my Lonesome Underground series. A lot of the times when I'm doing this series, you'll know if you've seen these photographs before, they're usually sitting in either that seat there that she's sitting in, or the seat opposite, and I position myself. If I see somebody sitting there that I think, they might go well with that series. So sometimes what I do is I'll take a few photographs, but I'll wait for something in the background to actually complement the photograph, and to maybe kind of just tell a little bit of a story, and just this kind of billboard in the background with a smile, and the fact that she's not smiling really kind of complemented each other. So I snapped that just as we were going past that sign. I do love this shot a lot. This was a photograph that I took at a wedding, funnily enough. And so whenever I shoot weddings, because I do shoot weddings, I don't shoot many because I try to keep it to a minimum. I try to maybe just do about 10 weddings a year, but I do love doing them. It's just that I haven't got as much time as what I used to do them. And I'm always looking at a wedding as street photography, but in this environment where everybody's usually pretty happy and nobody ever says, why are you taking a photograph of me? You can just capture moments all day long and all night, and nobody ever says why. Nobody, so that once that why is out the way, then I've got free reign just to really enjoy the day and just capture those just really cool moments. And if you looked at this photograph, and if I didn't say it was a wedding photograph, then it could easily be not a wedding, it could be something else. So and that's what I do love about the wedding photography that I do, is it doesn't always seem like a wedding photograph, apart from the fact that people are drinking and holding glasses of wine and things. And then this is a wedding also, just a moment which I love. I love how much he's just losing himself on the dance floor there, but what really makes it for me is just that couple kissing in the background and all the arms up, and you can just see that everybody's really enjoying that party, and I just love this photograph so much because of that. And that's it for today. So just let me know if you want me to do any more of these videos, because I've got plenty of photographs to go through. If not, then I won't do any more. but I've put a playlist together for you so that you can actually watch all of these videos in a playlist. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it a lot. I appreciate all your kind comments. I read them all and I reply to as many as I possibly can. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and all of that sort of thing. I'll see you next time.